We are going to game 5. What a bummer of a performance. Game 4, Padres, Dodgers, Petco Park. A chance to recreate history and a potential repeat of the legendary Game 4 that Saturday night in 2022 against the Dodgers. Not to be this time. Dodgers jumped ahead. Mookie Betts, first inning home run, and LA never took the foot off the gas. And an uncharacteristically flat performance from the Padres lineup on a night that Dylan Cease, credit to him, wanted the opportunity, wanted the ball, but didn't quite have it. And it was pretty evident early on that wasn't going to be a great night. Wasn't going to be a great night for Dylan Cease, and as it turned out, was not a great night for the Padres as a whole. So we'll discuss what we saw in the Game 4 loss, 8-0. Just had it handed to them in surprising fashion and certainly in disappointing fashion. Thanks to OGs, the sponsor of the On Friar podcast. Appreciate all they do for On Friar and the NBC 7 sports team. If you can't get to Dodger Stadium on Friday, you want to go somewhere to watch the game, be amongst the people, have some good food, have some good beer. Lots of TVs, great environment, bunch of locations around San Diego County. Shout out to OGs. Thanks for all they do for us at On Friar. Hope to have another live pod at some point soon. But big shout out to On Friar. Big shout, I should say, to OGs. Thanks to OGs for all they do for On Friar. Without further ado, the walk-up music. What up, what up? It's the On Friar podcast brought to you by NBC 7. Darnay Tripp going solo with you on the heels of a gross 8-0 defeat for the Padres against the Dodgers, who even the series at 4 games apiece and force a series deciding 5th game at Dodger Stadium on Friday. So we will discuss. I just posted on Twitter. How's everyone feeling? So we'll get a gauge of where everybody's at mentally, emotionally, and spiritually after a very disheartening performance for the Padres on a night they had a chance to do something incredible and set off one of the greatest parties San Diego has ever seen. Not to be tonight. So we'll monitor Twitter, see what people say, and see what Shildt has to say, see what Dave Roberts might say about their pitching plans, see if they have something in mind. Darvish, it sounds like, for the Padres. That's basically what Mike Shildt said. Darvish will start whatever their next game is, whether it's game 1 of the NLCS, which we all hoped it would be. Not the case anymore. Game 5 up at Dodger Stadium, where was phenomenal on Sunday. So obviously some good recent history there. And has been in these situations before. So a guy you trust in a spot, and hopefully he can recreate the performance that he had in Sunday's Game 2 victory. If you are watching live on YouTube, I'm flying solo. So keep me some company here. Get in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling, questions, hot takes, concerns, and we will get to them on the pod. You guys are what makes this so much fun. And so appreciate you being with us while we do these post-game pods. Love hearing from you. So get in the chat. Already got Charles saying he's pissed off on Twitter after just a straight up shellacking. Janine saying whoever wins this series is going to lose to the Mets anyway. Mets are, man, I did not want the Padres to see them in the wild card, and you can kind of tell why. Just what they have done over the last week and change, and now taking out the Phillies, who for much of the season looked like the scariest team in the National League. Francisco Lindor with a grand slam, and that obviously happened before the game. Smattering of people in the crowd, and there was a little ovation from folks at Dodger Stadium, or at Dodger Stadium, geez, at Petco Park, about the prospect of the Padres hosting the NLCS like they did 2 years ago against the Phillies, another 6 seed who advanced to that stage of the postseason. So that's the opportunity that's ahead of the Padres. And another thing that makes the sting a little bit is, you don't have to worry about hitting the road, at least immediately right away. If you can find a way to advance and get past the Dodgers Sunday, Petco Park, you have now got the Mets. $7,000 saying Mets starting pitching isn't even that good, but Dodgers offense way better. So I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. I hope we don't have that matchup, but we will see. And how about Sean Manaea going 7 strong, giving up 1 run yesterday? Could have used that contribution in 2022. More folks on Twitter. One run would have changed everything, to be honest. Pretty crummy, says Christy. Ian, also maybe getting ahead of things a little bit. Greatest Padres team in history. We can't make it to the NLCS. What's the point of watching baseball is how I'm feeling. They have another game. It's not over. And there was an interesting stat on the broadcast. I did not know that. I don't know when it was dating back to. Was it 1985? I don't remember. But when they go to game 5 in this current format, it's 14 and 21 are the home teams in that game 5. So it actually favors the lower seeded team and the visitor. So maybe some history in favor of the Padres, as they know go on the road, and home teams haven't fared all that well in that spot. Let's see. Andrew might be getting ahead of ourselves here. Real talk, they should trade Cease this offseason. Dude has shown he doesn't show up in the postseason. Both L's directly on his head. Didn't show up for the White Sox either. A little bit earlier in his career. Time to move on. Again, too early for all this. I think this is too early for all this. Bergen says he feels horrible. I get that. I totally understand if you feel horrible at this point, given the way things went, the excitement that was going into the night, and just going down without a whimper. It was rough. Ricky says, wasn't confident with Cease on the bump today, but I'm very confident for Friday, to be honest. And I think maybe that's the right way to approach this. We kind of knew that game 4 would be a potential stumbling block for the Padres, because that's when you figured once Joe Musgrove goes down, and this being the Joe Musgrove start, and man, a penny for his thoughts. Snow was going through his mind tonight. He would love to be out there in a situation like this and do whatever he can to help his team win. Obviously unable to be in that spot because of the UCL injury. But we knew that game 4 was lining up to be like the bullpen type game. And so it was really important to handle business, to get the split at Dodger Stadium. They did that to avoid this being an elimination game. They did that. They did that with Tuesday's win. And so we knew this could be a bit of a soft spot for the Padres. So maybe not a surprise. And I think Ricky on Twitter is right to not overreact and to feel better when you have a fully rested Darvish pitch Sunday, will pitch again Friday on the mound, given his track record, what he just did on Sunday, and his experience. And I think Ohtani was 0 for 4 that game Sunday, 0 for 3 against Darvish. So I think that is a healthy and reasonable approach to have. Brianna says, totally depressed. David says, confident Darvish, it'll come down to our bats. There's a lot to discuss about the bats, because this was not a pretty performance. And again, a uncharacteristically lifeless performance at the plate from a group that has had a lot of energy, really competitive at bats, relentless, even though they kind of tended to tail off late in the innings. They'd have that big inning. We've seen that all year. And even when they go down 3-0, 5-0, you're like, well, what have they done all season? They've come back. That's been their MO. I put on Twitter, like, how appropriate would it be for them to have a comeback win in the postseason? It's what they've done all season. Didn't have it tonight. Chris says, I think Darvish's 10-pitch mix helps negate the fact that Dodgers just saw him 4 days ago. Bats need to show up, though. No doubt about that. And Gerald says, we're okay. I can't tell if Gerald is coping and trying to convince himself that we're okay, or if he really, really feels that way. Aldo went to Doomerville. Can't go to Doomerville, okay? We just can't do that. We can't do that. This is disappointing. Look, deal with it tonight, refresh tomorrow, and get ready to throw all your support behind this team on Friday, especially those of you who are making the trip. Medium temp pod takes terrible. What are our odds on Friday? Probably pretty decent. But you're facing a good team. We'll see what the Dodgers pitching plans are. Maybe that doesn't even matter because in a bullpen game, they throw up a bunch of zeros. So I think I was on with John and Jim this afternoon, and Jim asked me like, how are we feeling about this matchup? And just having Cease on one side and facing a bullpen day. And I said, well, if you've spent any time following the Padres, you know that it's not necessarily like facing the Max Frieds and the Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Jack Flaherty's of the world that concern you. It's some pitcher you've never heard of that's making his second career start, or a bullpen day that sometimes, oddly enough, gives the Padres fits. And what happened today? You got a bullpen day, and they just get nothing going. Nothing at all. And it seemed like there wasn't even really, they got runners in scoring position here or there. 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, left 8 aboard. But never even had one of those. In the postseason, you get a couple guys on, the crowd comes to life, they get behind them, big moment. It seemed like we didn't even have one of those. There was just like general lack of energy. And again, if you follow this team, this sort of thing shouldn't necessarily shock you, because this happens sometimes to the Padres. Like the arm or the complement of arms that you shouldn't feel threatened by is sometimes the scariest group to see. Kyle makes a good point. Padres feed off the hate in Dodger Stadium, need that chip back on our shoulders. I don't know. Maybe there's something to that. They clearly don't mind going into enemy territory, and took the first game of the series in their last regular season meeting, the night they clinched, and then obviously didn't come away with a win last Saturday, but on Sunday played great. And there's going to be a ton of energy and lots for them to feed off of, just like there was at Petco Park. But maybe, as Dave Roberts said, playing the villain will benefit the Padres. And I think even John Smoltz made a good point as they were winding down their broadcast. The Padres will make the trip up the 5 confident as well, because why shouldn't they be? They're a good team. They've beaten this team. They've beaten them all year long. They've beaten them in the series. They've beaten them at Dodger Stadium, proven they could do it. And so there's no reason for them not to be confident and comfortable in this setting. Let's see. Wasted opportunity. We're getting on the chat on Twitter. A bummer, absolute bummer. Depressed, not too great, not too great. Darvish about to show out. We're going to celebrate out on the Dodgers home field. And I think a lot of people would enjoy it. Petco Park, a party at Petco Park, spilling out to the East Village and Gaslamp. That's what you dream of. That's what you hope for. Not in the cards tonight, but nice consolation prize to have a celebration, champagne celebration, pop bottles in the Dodgers clubhouse, and everybody to hopefully safely at Dodger Stadium celebrate in and around Los Angeles. I think everybody would enjoy that just as well. Nick hoping they're saving their runs for Friday. DMAC not saying I don't have faith in this team, but it's going to come down to the offense, I feel like. With Musgrove getting TJ, I wouldn't be trading away. It's a response to the Dylan Cease tweet. What else we got? Will, our buddy Will Holder, confident in you. I think that's the attitude. You should be confident. You should be confident in you, Darvish. If things were flipped and you got shelled tonight and you lose 8-0, you're going into a bullpen game. Obviously, huge reason for concern, but I think there's reason to feel much better. This team wasted everyone's money and time tonight. They came out with no urgency, no killer instinct, went down early, and basically gave up. Mark says he's going to throw up. It was not a very inspired performance, and this is a team that's had a lot of very inspired performances. And from that standpoint, it did seem a little bit strange and out of character because they've just had a natural energy and motivation about them. And you just didn't see that tonight. It was a little bit 2003 or 2023-ish in terms of them getting back down, and you just never have that moment where like, okay, here we go. They start to rally. They, have a big hit, big swing, what have you, grind out a walk or something. Hey, before that big comeback, it was, was it? It was Tatis. Was it Tatis the walk or Jay Cronenworth the walk? Anyways, against the Cubs, there was like a 9-pitch walk in there that set up a home run that kind of sparked the rally. Didn't even get that tonight. Derek says nervous, but sad. Let's see. Got a bunch of Dodger fans in the chat tonight. I hope you guys are just having a great time. Let's see what we have here. Anything worthwhile? No, nothing really worthwhile. Appreciate you hanging out, Dodger fans. Enjoy this one tonight. Hopefully you don't enjoy the post-game pod on Friday quite so much. Yeah, this was a bummer. This was a massive, massive bummer of a performance. Would have been nice to see Dylan Cease again, not on full rest, but rested, and just wasn't himself. Stuff was not as sharp. And with Dylan, you can kind of tell somewhat early on in the start, like if he's got his Cy Young stuff, or if he's got like 3 runs in 5 inning type stuff, or in this case, 3 runs in 1 2/3, I think it was. And this was not one of those good nights from Cease. And so it was going to put a lot of pressure on the bullpen. Brian Hoeing comes up, gives up another base knock for Mookie Betts to make it a 3-0 game, and serves up the homer to Will Smith. And then Tommy Edman lays down a bunt. Wandy Peralta, first pitch he throws, is tanked by Gavin Lux. So it was tough from beginning to end. Let's see. Jeff Sanders from UT on Padres hitters struggled against relief pitching so far in the playoffs. Mike Shildt says tonight, quote, I mean, you can see better bullpens clearly. We've got a really good bullpen. Their bullpen has been very good. We're familiar with them. It's just a matter of continuing to take consistent at-bats and being able to do something when we've got some opportunities with people out there. And it wasn't one of those nights where they never had opportunities. They move guys along, whether it be a walk, a couple walks. Tatis had the double. Cronenworth had the double. So there were some opportunities mixed in there, but just not getting that big swing and anything to spark any sort of comeback. And so it just, a very stress-free loss from the Dodgers. Shildt also saying, according to Jeff Sanders, I'm already excited for Friday. How fun is that going to be? The always optimistic Mike Shildt, looking forward to Friday and the opportunity ahead. And I think that's what you have to do. And I think to the Padres' credit, what have they done well this season? They've turned the page. They've responded well to wins and losses, didn't respond particularly well to the win and the environment tonight. But throughout the season, whether it's comebacks in a game, losing streaks, whatever, a tough loss, they managed to bounce back. They've done that all year. And so you are confident in them in this situation, being able to flush this and move on and play at a high level, because that's been their MO and that's what they have done. Dave Roberts not announcing a starter for Game 5. Might be another bullpen day. They've got Yamamoto on full rest +1. They've got Jack Flaherty on full rest. So they've got plenty of options, and maybe what we saw tonight informs them a little bit in their approach, because of the struggles that the Padres had against the Dodgers bullpen. Let's see. From Chelsea Janes, what you got here? Mike Shildt said he didn't consider pulling Cease before he faced Ohtani, who drove in a run. A second time because Cease's stuff looked good and they had a right-hander up in the bullpen. Said they ultimately decided to pull him after that because Dodgers swings were good. How much would it have even mattered? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it in this case. It just seemed kind of like one of those nights. And some early exits. Todd Strain mentioned fouling out of Petco Park in the 7th inning. Can't say I necessarily blame them. And not getting the party. We were saying in the newsroom, man, if you had tickets tonight instead of last night, Sorry about that, because that's tough. Probably not a cheap ticket, and all the excitement of what could have come, and you get a bunch of zeros and a not very inspiring performance. So that's a tough way to go out. And I hope this is not the last time we see the Padres at Petco Park this season, because that would not be a fitting farewell, given this season, how it's gone, how exciting this season has been, how fun this season has been, so many great moments, and the crowds, record-breaking crowds. I don't know what tonight was. Last night, the biggest crowd in Padres Petco Park history, 47,744. 47,773. So I think that's another new record tonight. And Padres deserve, you can't control these things. That's how sports works. It's cruel and all that. But you can, yeah, you can just only hope, that you get a poetic ending. I hope this is not the ending to the Padres season at Petco Park, because they deserve better. Fans deserve better, first and foremost. It's not been that kind of year. And this is just such a disappointing, disheartening note to potentially end the season on. So hope that is not the case. What else? Anything we got from Twitter as we scroll through and see what folks are having to say? Teams playing in their home ballparks, according to the great Sarah Langs. Teams playing in their home ballparks are 62 and 66 all time in winner take all postseason games. The stat they showed, I believe, was specific to NLDS Game 5s. This from Sarah Lang's winner take all postseason games. So, oddly enough, I mean, close to 50-50, but actually in favor of the visitors. So, if there's something to be encouraged by, there you go. That's it. So you got a really good pitcher on the mound. You're in an environment where you're comfortable and confident, and there's a good track record for visiting teams. So we will see what happens there. Man, it is, obviously this night it wasn't as lopsided as, say last night, where they score 6 runs um, and don't get anything done, similar to what they did. What was it in the second inning, I think, against the Braves, if I'm not mistaken, in that game too. I was doing the math. I think it's 22-7 now. In first 3 innings, they've scored like 22 runs. Every inning after that, they've scored like 7 runs. No, 8 runs, but 7 of those came Sunday. So if you take away Sunday, in the other 5 games, they've scored like 19 runs in the first 3 innings and 1 run after that. And now they are 15 consecutive scoreless innings, the last 6 innings of game 3 against the Dodgers, and all 9 innings tonight. And so the bats have gone completely missing. And not the sign that you were hoping for. And again, this team's basically been playing like postseason games for like a month now. And they've had that vibe about them. They've had kind of that attitude. When was the last time that they got shut out? It seems like that, they haven't had a performance where they just look flat in quite a long time, because they've had so many critical games through the last month or so of the season. Last time they got shut out, I'm scrolling through late August. Let's see. Was it in the first? Oh, first game of the second half. That's right, against the Guardians, 7-0 loss, and they respond with a 7-0 win. Oh, so maybe that bodes well. But a 7-0 loss. That was the last time, first game of the second half, that the Padres got shut out. And to even have like a really, if that Thursday loss to the Dodgers was lopsided, but 4-3 loss, 5-2, 7-6, 6-3, 4-3, 11-4 to Tampa, but a lot of competitive games. 7-1 to the Mets. That was in August, but mostly really competitive games. And so this is not the Padres team that we've seen in quite some time, in months, over a month, and they showed up at a bad time. And so looking forward to hearing what the guys have to say on that, and just getting a sense of kind of what their mindset is now going into a winner take all game 5. And, as Smolt said, and I joked on Twitter, maybe this series deserves a 5th game. No Padre fans, I think, wanted it. It's disappointing. It's discouraging. We all wanted to relive what happened in 2022, and just the scene that we saw game 4 in 2022 to slay the dragon again at Petco Park, take down the Dodgers with 3 straight wins in incredible fashion. That would have been amazing. But who is surprised that this series is going to 5 games? 2 really evenly matched teams. I don't think anybody expected this to go down in 3, or to, for it to feel lopsided in either way. And these short series, man, you have dramatic swings from game 1 to game 2, the blowout of game 2, feeling like you can assert control in game 3. That's exactly what they did. Now you blink, it's an even series, and you got to go back to Dodger Stadium. But objectively speaking, if you can kind of step back a little bit and assess what this series has been and how close these teams have been, I think it's like 66-62 during the regular season in terms of run differential. Of course, they're going to go to game 5. Of course, they're going to go to game 5. And you have no reason but to feel very confident as a Padres fan, given what this team has done against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium with Yu Darvish on the mound. You should feel great. It might be hard right now, but you should feel great about it. So we'll see. We'll see how things go down. I'll wind down here. If anybody who is not one of these many Dodger fans all over YouTube right now in the chat has any thoughts, we'll get to that. But yeah, it's a bummer of an evening, but there's another game to be played. And Mike Shildt, again, the eternal optimist, excited about what is ahead. Oh, we got more tweets to get to. Let's see. Not confident at all the Dodgers are going to go to another bullpen day on Friday. Eddie says, we will be okay. I love this team and refuse to quit on them. That's the attitude. Brent says, sick to my stomach. I get it. Pods fan 29, they need to be prepared for another bullpen day. David says, they're discussing something else. Johnny says, not great, Bob. Not great. I get it. I completely understand. Andrea, it ain't over till it's over. Salute emoji. I respect that, Andrea. It's not got another game to play. Why can't we hit their bullpen? That's a great question, Alex. That is a fantastic question. I think that's what is on everybody's mind. Tim channeling Ted Lasso, memory of a goldfish, move on, play next. And Deacon says, before Bogarts unfortunately couldn't turn the double play, that would have got us out of the inning with no runs added in the 7th, had opportunities in 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 7th, easily a 5-3 ball game. That's baseball. You either get the out or hit when needed. 1st to 3, not 2. P.S. Peter Seidler. So mixed emotions. Playing the, what could have been game doesn't do you any good at this point. I get it. Feel it. Feel the disappointment. That is certainly fair on a night like this. But team's going to flip the switch. Fans got to flip the switch as well. And again, reason to be confident going into game 5. And we will be with you after game 5, win or loss. Appreciate you being with us. Thanks for watching. Thank you for listening. And we will catch you next time.